A member of the infamous Occupy movement and former Union power player Mike Golash has revealed his and the Occupy movement's agenda. It's also perhaps the American Union's agenda.
Progressive Labor is a revolutionary communist organization. Its objective is to make revolution in the United States, overthrow the capitalist system, and build communism.
Americans for Limited Government President Bill Wilson sees this as a cause for alarm.
When people in a position of power, like this union official, openly brag about trying to bring communism to the United States, it's not just a danger warning, it is outright dangerous. This man is advocating the imposition of a set of philosophies and government policies that directly led to the murder of 20 million people in Stalin's Russia, untold millions in Cambodia, Vietnam, North Korea, and yet he thinks this is a good thing.
One place where communism has led to horror is China. In 1989, a massive group of protesters, mainly students, gathered in China's Tiananmen Square to make a statement against oppressive government. This group used a statue as its icon. It's been called the Goddess of Democracy. After weeks of demonstration, their oppressive government used the military to massacre what was believed to be 4,000 to 6,000 people. It brought about an image that may never be forgotten. When a man literally stood before the Chinese tanks, he took his life into his hands in the name of freedom. The identity of the man is unknown, however, many now call him Tank Man. And during that melee, the Goddess of Democracy fell. A replica of this statue now stands in Washington, just blocks away from the U.S. Capitol.
Many Americans don't understand that the statue that is mirrored in Washington, D.C. was the statue that inspired Chinese dissidents to stand up in 1989 and demand democracy. People that were brutally put down with guns and tanks. That is how a repressive, collectivist, Marxist government deals with dissent, machine guns and tanks.
Recently, the statue was a centerpiece for the observation of what's called Black Ribbon Day. This is a day recognized in parts of Europe and Canada to remember victims of horrific government regimes. Lithuania's American ambassador explains.
Some time ago, in 1939, two totalitarian regimes, Stalin and Hitler, they agreed to kill the free world around.
The horrific history of communism is something that should not be forgotten.
In the words of Santayana, those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it.
I think that even the memorial here and the people who have gathered here and all the information we're receiving shows that people still know about the fact that the world is not free, that not all nations are free.
The world is experiencing more loss of freedom than we might even realize.
We are already going the 6th consecutive year when the number of democracy is decreasing.
Americans who may have forgotten are receiving reminders of what communism can really do.
I think with the current situation in Russia, where you have Pussy Riot suddenly behind bars for freedom of speech, they're beginning to remember what it was like.
So the idea of Black Ribbon Day is perhaps something our government should recognize.
We hope that next year Congress will be able to commemorate together with us Black Ribbon Day.
Black Ribbon Day should perhaps serve as a reminder for all generations.
You know, it's really interesting that we ignore this, the fall of communism, as if it didn't even exist. And maybe that has to do with some of the folks that control our media and our thought culture who want to ignore it. I think it's so important to remember that you don't play with a philosophy and a mindset of government that has a track record of putting tens of millions of people in the ground dead for simply disagreeing with it.
And so many Americans will continue to work to keep future generations from forgetting. Reporting from Washington, Frank McCaffrey.